I want to talk more about risk management, and
Yeah.
I know you trade with what, $500,000
Yep.
every single day?
No, so that's not like per position, but
Yeah.
I keep $500,000 like in my trading account.
Yeah.
I trade options in the US market and don't trade Forex, don't trade futures. Like options has been my thing, since 2018. And so as far as like position size, it's totally dependent on, how my trading is going. I was showing you the other day, I built a lot of custom kind of tools to cater to the way I trade. So I created like a risk management calculator, which is able to essentially gauge the risk behind the trade I want to put on. And it also takes into account like my historical data, my win rate, average winner, loser, whatnot, all this data, right? I don't need to go into a ton of detail, but it gives me my position size. And then out of that 500K, I'm able to be like, okay, because this trade presents this amount of risk and this is my, historical performance trading, whatever this setup, then this is how much money I'm going to allocate into that trade specifically. So like right now I've only got 50K in the market and that is spread out across 3 different positions.
That's pretty crazy. Yeah. I feel like most people watching this, they're not trading with $500,000. They don't have 50K in the market on some of these trades. Yeah. So just talk about your mindset that you have to have that much money being at risk every day to have these big returns.
Yeah. I mean, you have a system. Like trading is for me, it's very systematic. I've just tried to remove as much human emotion out of the picture as possible. Trading can be self-destructive, or you could be self-destructive in your trading, because when emotion starts to creep in, we start to doubt, second guess ourselves. It becomes hard, and there's a lot of opposing biases and opinions. So for me, creating a system from a risk perspective, and I was in school, hated math, worst subject.
Yeah.
But it's not like you have to be some mathematician to do well in trading. But with the help of ChatGPT and some very smart other minds that I was able to hire, I was able to create like this risk management calculator, which I think when when you have a system, when you've seen, year over year, that system has yielded you these positive returns, then you just don't doubt yourself. You don't second guess yourself. You can trust your process, stick to the plan, whatever. However cliche that may sound, it's true, but it also, at the same time, you have to progressively scale your account or scale your risk. However much money you have in your trading account, you don't only need to be able to be totally like, okay, if you lose all of that, right? Like I always just say, it would suck if I lost $500,000.
Yeah.
That's not how I trade. Like I would never have that much risk ever on the table. But it is going to allow you to make non-emotional decisions. And so, if you fund an account with $1,000, $5,000, $10,000, whatever the case, just know like that should be money that you can live without.
Yeah.
And then just be very systematic about the way you're approaching risk management.
It's so funny that you bring this up, because I asked Anthony, the guest on I had before for the first episode, and he said a very similar kind of thing when it came to risk. He said you have to have a plan, right? So it's not only taking that risk, but having a plan and executing on it and having a system, like you said, which I think is super important. Let's talk about the current market, right? Yeah. It's April 2024. Coming from an experienced trader, what do you see the market conditions like throughout the rest of this election year and what there are currently?
Yeah, so I get this question a lot, obviously.
Yeah.
The easiest way I can explain it, and to preface this, like, I'm a technical trader, like solely. I don't trade at the moment. I've like really moved away from trading based off of technical analysis, like any sort of TA. And I also don't trade based off of any fundamentals. I trade based off of order flow and order flow alone. And then I just, use the risk management calculator I have. So I'm able to like trade without looking at a chart, without looking at any indicators or moving averages. I'm simply following this order flow that this software I've developed is able to pull from the market, from the options market. And then I pair that with risk, and, I'm able to not only remove any emotional attachment as to the, like, where am I wrong? Where am I right? Like when you get into a trade, you need to have a plan. You need to know where you're going to be wrong, how much you're going to lose, where you're going to be right, how much you're going to make. I'm saying that because you ask, oh, what are my,
So you're taking
assumptions?
outside factors
I don't take
right?
I don't take into consideration any outside market conditions
Okay.
because
Yeah.
it's irrelevant in the way I go about deciding what
Interesting.
stock do I trade,
Yeah.
what direction do I bet on that stock going, where am I right, where am I wrong. Those are the only 4 questions you have to answer as a trader, and maybe 2 of those questions are answered on a chart and the other 2 are answered through like a scanner or however you want to find a stock to trade. For me, it's what stock do I trade comes from my software. What direction do I bet on that stock going comes from my software. Where am I wrong? Dictated solely by risk. Where am I right? Dictated solely by risk. Doesn't matter what's going on from a fundamental perspective. Whatever stock I'm trading, I'm not going to look at the company, look into the company. The only thing I will say
So you're
is
not watching the news every day.
not watching the news. I am aware
Yeah.
of like FOMC and CPI.
Yeah.
That's it, because I know those will be events that will make the market, become very volatile. We'll see big swings in price on that day. So I am
Yeah.
careful whenever there's an announcement like that or an FOMC meeting. But at the end of the day, I'm not trying to predict the next 3 months, the next 6 months, the next year. And the way I trade, I can trade a bull market, I can trade a bear market. So it doesn't really affect my decision. It doesn't affect my decision-making process at all. And I'm, on a day-to-day basis reacting to what the market is giving me. I'm never predicting what I think is going to happen. And I know that
it sounds like you have a smart plan. Yeah.
That's just my approach to trading.
I'm like long oil right now.
See, that's a whole different way
with
of trading.
Yeah.
But it works for some people,
No, I mean, it's important for everyone to understand to execute at a high level like you are. You're removing all these outside factors. Whatever the market's doing, you're looking at it day to day, giving your strategy and your execution on those strategies, which I think is super important, right? I definitely want to touch on crypto because I know, let's bring it full circle. That's how you got into the game.
Yeah.
And so I want to hear your thoughts on crypto throughout the rest of this year. If you plan on allocating more, if you're staying away.
Yeah, that's funny. Oh, we, met 7 months ago. I think our first lunch, you were like, asking me about crypto. And I'm like, I'm totally out. Like, I don't have any crypto. And recently that has changed. So I'm slowly getting back in crypto in a very small way in perspective, like in comparison. But I definitely think if you can allocate some funds, some amount of capital, whatever, into the market, doing research, like, don't just be stupid and throw a bunch of cash into some meme coins, unless you really are educated and you think that's going to be a smart bet, or however you want to put it. But I think long term, I've always been a pretty strong believer in at least Bitcoin. Like, I don't think Bitcoin's going anywhere.
Oh no.
And I think slowly getting back into the market. No, my intention isn't even to make money on this next bull run, right? It's not like, I want to make a bag on this bull run. That's like a way longer term thing for me. It's like in 20 years, I want to have some crypto. I want to own a certain amount of crypto. It's not even like a percentage of my income I'm putting in crypto or a percentage of my net worth I'm putting in crypto. It's just let me slowly ease back into it and become more familiar with the market as however the market is now. I mean, watching the crypto market over the last 7 years has just been, you see these ups and these downs and these drawdowns, right?
The volatility of it.
Where Bitcoin pulls back 80% off all-time highs, and then you just, I know those are the risks when I'm getting into crypto, and I'm fully prepared to lose whatever I put in. But long-term, I would love to have crypto in case it does become this bigger thing. But again,
I think it's a strong hedge against inflation long-term, especially Bitcoin. But this cycle, personally, I'm looking to make that bag, right? This is my second cycle, and I'm a lot more educated this cycle. But it's all about risk management, right? It's how much you're willing to risk, and weathering the storms of the volatility if you truly believe in it. To wrap things up, to all the viewers here, what would you tell the kid that's watching this, that's, looking at us going, holy shit, they're in a, $1.5 million penthouse in Miami right now filming a fucking podcast on a Tuesday. Like, how do I get there? What are you telling that kid to take that risk, to get started, to start his online business, to start trading? What do you tell him?
I think whatever, for me, it was, and I think for some people, it's like a realization of, oh, this is possible by surrounding yourself with other people that are actually in a position where you would want to be. So maybe it's that. Maybe it's, hey, spend every last dollar you have to just get a flight or drive or just meet people.
You only live once.
That are successful. Right? Like, meet people, surround yourself with other guys that are doing well.
Yeah.
And then you just have this realization like, oh, wow, like this is actually possible. So my point is, it's hard to believe what you can't see. So if you can put yourself in a situation, a scenario, even if it's just going out to a dinner with, a family connection, like some businessman that one of your family members knows, and just having a conversation. When I was, younger, I was able to be introduced and meet like these very wealthy businessmen that like my grandfather knew. And that was like super eye-opening for me. And I'm like, oh, it's possible. Like, this is just as you see other people doing, there's levels to this, right? As you see other people doing better than you, or just, doing very well. I mean, I think the first time I was like, wow, when you think about money, it's not some finite, like, I think people have scarcity around money.
Oh, yeah.
And they think they're going to run out. Money's going to run out. Money's going to run dry. And it's just the mindset when it comes to that. I've always looked at it as money's infinite, and, I can make as much as I want. And meeting this guy that was, had a net worth of, I would say, over 500 million when I was 15 years old. Just, it was my grandfather's friend. Well, that was very eye-opening for me. So that's what I would say, is just try to find someone in your life, or anyone, to just talk to who's done well in life in general.
That's great advice.